Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show, where we get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great one. Who do we have?
We're excited to have country artist Julie Roberts with us today. Breakdown Here was her breakout anthem in 2004. And after going through the loss of her home in Nashville, her record deal, and a battle with MS, she's back and very excited to share new music.
So we're going to talk about our new music and then some. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk to y'all about whatever y'all want to talk about.
Well, I always like to start the show kind of same way. As you know, the last couple of years have been rough for a lot of people, but especially entertainment. So how did all this affect what you do, and what have you done to kind of maneuver through this crazy time?
So the pandemic kind of just put a hold on this new record in general. I started making the album in Los Angeles with Shooter Jennings producing 9 of the tracks of the finished record. And so when we got to we got to the point of the pandemic, because it was taking a little bit of time because I was flying back and forth, out there from Nashville. So when the pandemic hit, it just kind of was put on pause. And we had finished quite a bit of music. And then that's why I ended up finishing it with a new producer, Aaron Enderlin, here in Nashville just this year. So the pandemic, obviously, for live shows, but for me, I was in the middle of recording this record that I'm actually holding now. And it just put a big pause on it. But I do believe that all pauses in our life are meant to be, and everything they're supposed to happen. And I was supposed to finish the record with Aaron Enderlin and record some another song that I wrote and 3 that she wrote that are very country. And we just it's a full record. It's now 14 songs, and so it really just paused. It paused the recording, but also during that time, I was talking before we went on live that I have a 14-month-old, and in order for us to have him, my husband and I, we had to do 3 IVF cycles, and so at that time, that pause, I believe, was meant to be so that we could bring our little man into the world, and so and now he's here, and he's hearing my music every single day.
and that's why I always like to ask about the whole pandemic question, because you never know what answers we're going to get. For some people, it almost destroyed them. For other people, it catapulted. Even like our show, we launched this show in January of 2020, a couple months before all that happened.
Right.
And I remember our original plan was maybe 100 interviews that first year. And then as I'm watching everything get shut down, I told Sandy, I was like, we need to step it up. This might be our time to shine. And because of that, we end up doing 300 interviews that year, and we're at 600 now.
That's amazing.
So it's been a crazy venture. So although I don't, COVID has affected us in other ways too, and for the not as good, but still we had to just take it and go, because you couldn't change it.
That's right. You couldn't, and you just kind of had to maneuver and figure out life from there. And so
absolutely.
But I'm happy for y'all.
Well, thank you.
It's a ton.
So a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I always like to go deeper than that. When did it click for you that this could be a career?
So I grew up in South Carolina. You told me you're in Georgia, and I always listened to country music. That's what Mama listened to, and traditional country is what I've always loved and drawn to. I started singing in the car with Mama to the radio, and then in church. But then Mama would start putting me into these little. She'd book me to festivals around the. Because I think I knew, to answer your question, I think I knew at an early age when people would ask me, what do I want to be when I grow up? I'd say a singer like Barbara Mandrell. Because I would watch her shows, the Barbara Mandrell show with her sisters. And I just wanted to be her. And that's all I ever wanted to be. And every night when I was a little girl, Mama would say my prayers with my sisters and me. And I would say, God, please give me a record deal and make me a singer like Barbara Mandrell. And I did that from the time that I knew who she was, because I always I feel like country music was always in my life because of Mama, and so it was early on. I've never had another vision of myself. I've tried to search to see if there was things, because I love animals, and my dad even tried to convince me that I should be a veterinarian. A more stable. I guess he's more of a realist than a dreamer, or he was.
Yes.
And but I don't like to see animals hurt. I love animals, but and I rescue a lot of animals or dogs.
That's great.
And but I just couldn't do it. Music is just in me, and just got back from the road yesterday, and I'm ready to go back out again. So it's always what I wanted to do. Sorry, that was a long answer to your question.
I remember years ago we interviewed Allison Steele when the Two Still Girls was around, and I remember asking about advice, and I'll never forget what she said, because it kind of talks about what you just said. She says the advice she would give other artists. She said, "Don't do it," and then she'd laugh, and then she kind of laughed. She goes, if you can do anything outside of music and be happy, go do that. She goes, because when you do music, it takes everything out of you, from your body to your mind to time to family. It takes away everything. And so she said, if you're not ready to be all in, you're not going to make it. So if you can do anything else and be happy, go do that. She says, but if you can't be happy doing anything else, then go all in.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about it. And even like during the pandemic, when the recording was put on hold, I was like, because my degree in school is music business. And so I was like, even I was just trained to be in the music business, but I was like, well, should I go to veterinary school now? It was doing all things. And I was like, no. But I really looked into it, and I said, no, it's going to work out. And it just needed to in its own time.
Yes.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory in what you do, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes to make it to any level within music. And I always want to talk about that, because I think a lot of times it's sugar-coated. So let's talk about, before you made it in 2004 and all that, the struggles and the grind you had to go through then tell us a little bit about where it stopped.
Okay. Well, I like I said, I'm from South Carolina, so I always sang growing up, and festivals and fairs was my mama and my aunt were my booking agent. And I knew I needed to get to Nashville if I wanted to sing country music. And the way that I did was I transferred to Belmont University my junior year, started at the University of South Carolina in Lancaster, and then transferred, and then worked really hard. I worked all the way in order to pay for Belmont, 3 jobs in school.
Wow.
But I knew I had to get here.
Yes.
But after graduating, during my time at Belmont, you have an opportunity to intern. So I interned at Sony Records, and then I interned at Universal Music Group. And after I graduated, Universal offered me a job as their receptionist for Mercury Records.
Oh, wow.
That's what it was for 2 or 3 years. Mercury Records, this is Julie, and then just playing at night anywhere I could, because it's hard to get gigs in Nashville because everybody's got them. And so I had formed a band in college, and we even played laundromats because to get a gig. And so we reached out to this place called Harvey Washbangers and said, can we set up just in the corner? And he said, yeah, but
oh, wow.
If you hear a dryer go off, you got to say a dryer number. You can't be too loud. Dryer number 3, plays already. Okay. So we played laundromats, any coffee shops, anywhere we could play, because that's all, all the guys in my band went to Belmont too, and they came to play music. And it's just hard to get a gig. When you get one, you kind of keep it,
Yeah.
And, so we just wanted to play anywhere. So I was working during the day, answering phones and playing these places at night with my band. And then I started recording just a little bit of actually, one of my projects at Belmont was to record a demo in my recording technology class. And so one of my guitar player, long story short, my guitar player was a receptionist at a publishing company across town. And he gave that demo to Brent Rowan, who produced my first record. And he said, this is Julie, she's the receptionist at Mercury. He said, oh, I didn't know she sang. I'll listen to it. So Brent called me eventually and said, hey, I like your voice. The music that y'all recorded sounds awful. He said, can you stop playing the laundromats and things at night and let's just start recording guitar vocals? And I said, of course. So he and I just started recording guitar vocals at night while I was a receptionist. Through that process, I then get promoted to be Luke Lewis's assistant. And Luke Lewis was the chairman of Universal Music Group. And they said to me, if you're a singer, he doesn't want you. So if you're a singer, don't tell me. Don't tell us, because he doesn't want you to answer the phones. So I didn't. I said, okay. And so I got the promotion, which gave me a little bit of a pay raise, which helped. About that time, my mom moved to Nashville. She moved 3 years after I did, and we were able to buy our first townhouse here. And I was still, so while I was answering Luke's phones then for another year or so, I was recording with Brent at night. And so finally one day Brent said, I'm gonna start taking it around town to record labels. And he took it to every record label except for Mercury, the one I was answering phones. No one liked it. They said she's too bluesy, she's too soulful. So finally he said, Julie, I want to take it to Luke, your boss. And I said, no, because I'll get fired. I told them I would never tell him I was a singer. He said, just get me on his calendar. And I promise you won't get fired. So I went to my boss, Luke. I said, hey, Brent Rowan would like a meeting with you. He's working with a new artist in town. And Brent had just had success with Joe Nichols, the Impossible record.
Yeah.
So Luke took his meeting. Luke said, find a spot on my calendar, which I did. And the day came and I'm sitting at a desk outside of Luke's office. Luke always listened to music really loud, which I loved, so I could hear what he liked, So Brent came in, he shut the door, and I could hear the CD stop and start a few times really loud. And I, of course, knew it was me. And then Brent left and he said, call me when you get off. And I said, okay. Then Luke left and he said, see you tomorrow. So I called Brent as soon as I could. And he said, he stopped the CD the first time. He said, who is this girl? I want to meet her. I like her voice.
Oh, wow.
He said, it's the girl right outside your office. She's answering your phones. It's Julie. He said, she's not supposed to be a singer. And he said, besides that I won't say on here. But anyway, it took a little, I knew he liked it. He said he liked it. He told Brent he liked it. He just didn't know how to handle it. So it took him a few weeks, and he finally came to me and he said, I played this CD for the rest of the Mercury staff. And I didn't tell them it was you. I just wanted to know if they liked it. And they liked it. And I want to sign you to a record deal here. He said, but I need you to find me a new assistant first that does not sing. For sure. So that's kind of a short version of a few years journey and how I got my first record deal with Mercury. And Breakdown Here was a song that was on that demo, that first time.
Now, as you were rising to the top and all that back then, tell us about the year where everything came tumbling a little bit. How did you handle that year when you lose the record deal and the tornado? I mean, not tornado, but flooding and all that. How was that process?
That was pretty hard. That was a hard time. But also, again, it was a blessing in disguise because in 2005, when we were recording my second record, Men and Mascara, I was diagnosed with MS, but I kept that a secret from everyone, my record label, my booking agent, because I thought that they would think I didn't or couldn't play shows.
Yeah.
And I was also in denial, so I didn't tell anyone. And then, so for 5 years, I didn't tell anyone. So from 2005 to 2010, One of those years, I moved out to LA to work on a movie for Lifetime. And then the movie was put on hold. So at the end of 2009, I came back to Nashville and I went to Luke, my old boss, now head of my label. I said, I'm back. The movie's put on hold and I'm ready to make what would be my third record. For Mercury. And he said, okay. And, but then May of that year, May the 1st, 2010, the 1,000 year flood came through and we lost our townhome that we had just bought, 5 years. Well, when Mama moved, all our cars flooded. We were rescued by boat. Some people lost their lives, in that flood, but we were saved. And I had my first MS relapse during that time because it was a very stressful time. And I decided at that point that I would accept it and own it, that I had MS. And so I finally told my fans and I told my record label and booking agent, and I lost my record deal. I think they were afraid of the MS. And, which, is not, they shouldn't have been, but whatever.
Yes, right.
We get it.
We get it.
Those things combined, made me open my eyes and wanted me to take care of me because God had given me another chance to live. We were rescued. My mom was rescued. All of our dogs were rescued, my sister. And I just felt like that I needed to, maybe I had another purpose. Obviously music, I know, but maybe I could help other people with MS if I figured out how to manage it and also live my dreams. And so I started a disease modifying therapy and started making independent records.
Oh, wow.
Started speaking for others living with MS and inspiring them and that they don't have to give up on their dreams because somebody tells them that they have MS. And so that kind of took me to that journey for a little bit. And I was doing a lot of speaking for others living with MS until the pandemic hit too. Again, those were those two hard things, losing our record deal and then losing our home, our happy home, because growing up, we didn't have a happy home. My dad was an abusive alcoholic, and then I always wanted a happy home for Mama.
Yes.
And so that was hard, but because of those things and because of the MS relapse, it made me take charge of my own life.
As an artist, you have to.
Yeah. And then, like I told you, our cars floated away. So when our State Farm check came, I said, Mercury didn't want to make a record on me. I'm not going to buy another car. I'm going to use this to make a new record. And I put out 2 independent records. One called Alive, because I was alive. I'd been rescued. And then one was a Christmas record. And so blessings come out of hard things.
They do.
That I've seen. When you look back, or when I look back on my life, I know why things happen along the way. But they think they have built my character and given me a little bit thicker skin.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like I went through 19 years of addictions, and the first 5 years of our marriage was built into those addictions. So she went through a lot in those years, and until I feel like God healed me almost 15 years ago. But yeah, I completely understand when you're going through stuff. It's like, some people would ask, would I change that if I could go back? And I wouldn't, because it's made me who I am today.
Totally. And it's probably made y'all's relationship stronger than it ever was.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it has.
Because we've been at the bottom.
20-year anniversary.
I heard. Yes. Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you.
And we've been at the bottom, so we know what that's like.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why our marriage has always stayed so strong all these years, is because we know what it's like to be at the bottom and almost lose it all.
We do.
So we don't take each day for granted like a lot of people do.
That's right. Yeah, we shouldn't. I agree with that.
So as you know, a lot of people see you, but they don't see the team around you. In our opinion, teams never get any love.
They don't.
On our show, they get love. So take a few moments and just tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Okay. First of all, my team from the very beginning is Mama. and my family, but Mama in particular. My team currently is my husband, who's amazing. He's the one that, you know, really pushed me to finish this record. Like one day I came home and he said, "Hey, I've got the shooter tracks, and I didn't tell you I was doing it, but I had remixed them and had them mastered. I want to play it for you." And because we just been waiting, you know, and I had just kind of like, I don't know if it's going to ever come out. And he said, "You owe it to yourself. You worked so hard on this to get this out." And I said, "Wow, you've been working on this record without telling me." So he played me one track, and I just cried. And I said, "Okay, I'm ready." I said, "But we've got to finish it. You know, there's only 9 songs." And that's when I reached out to Aaron. So Matt, my husband, is a big part of my team right now. I have this record is distribution is with 1 RPM and their marketing, and Melissa with PR. But I have a great friend named Brian Williams who helps me. He's on the road with me doing tour photography. He helps me with my social media. If I don't know how to do something, like, let me tell you what he helped me do. Randy Hauser is singing a duet on my new record with me. And I had this song since my very first record. It's called A Little Crazy Is Kind of Nice. And so I was talking to Brian, and I said, I want to record this and add it to the 9 songs that Shooter did. I want Aaron to produce it. I said, and I want Randy Hauser to sing it. And I haven't seen him in forever, and I don't know how to DM people. And I said, if I write you the message, would you send it to Randy? And so if it weren't for Brian in my life helping me, that might not be on the record today. I since know how to do it, but he taught me, but he helped me get in touch with Randy.
Awesome.
Then, I mean, we're all kind of scattered too. Our graphic designer, Douglas, is in Arkansas. So, I mean, the one thing about the pandemic is we can live everywhere. But
thank God for technology.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's what you mean, who's helped me really with this record and life, you know, it takes my mom, Matt's family help us watch Jackson when I'm on the road. So I think my dogs are on my team too. They seem like they like the music, and God is my biggest cheerleader. I always turn to him when I, you know, need to know something or know what I need to be doing.
Love that. You know, speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 10-year-old that we bring on Ask Us. So Sandy's gonna get him.
I'll go get him.
Questions.
Okay.
And while we're waiting for him, tell us a little bit about the songs. Is there any favorite song you have at the new album?
Oh yeah, it's just really hard to pick.
I know, because I've listened to a lot of them, and I'm like, oh. And when you said traditional earlier, I was like, yep, that's definitely that new album.
Yeah. Well, the current song out is called Devil's Pool.
I love that one.
I love that this came into my life. Again, it was a God thing. I was in the studio in Los Angeles with Shooter, and he said, "Hey, I was going through some of my dad's recordings, like a little cassette where he used to write." And he said, and I found this chorus that he wrote. He had never finished the song. And he said, and I thought, it'd be great if we could finish it. I don't know what he was thinking, but can you write the verses? We'll write the music, and we'll finish this song. And so that song, to me, when I listen to it, I hear Waylon, especially Shooter's production brought his dad back in it. And I don't know, just having a co-write with Waylon, and hopefully he loves it. And I chose to make it a story song because the country music that I grew up on had lots of stories about life. And so I'm very proud of that, and just grateful that Shooter gave me the opportunity to get involved in a song that his dad started and never finished. So that's a special one on the record. There's so many special ones, but if I had to pick one, it's the current single. So hi.
Hi, Julie Roberts. So what's for your food?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you.
What's your favorite foods?
My favorite foods. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. it changes. I kind of like, I love Italian. I like lasagna, and I like, but I like Mexican too. Guacamole. My husband will tell you, if we ever go out to a restaurant, even if it's not a Mexican restaurant, if they have an appetizer that's guacamole, he knows my answer. If it says guacamole, the answer is yes. And so we try it anywhere we go if it's on the menu. So I'm kind of a carb person. I like salty stuff. So salty chips with guac is good too.
Because what's yours?
Mine's pizza.
Pizza. I love pizza too. See, you like Italian.
Yes. All right, what's your favorite TV show?
That's tough. I don't watch a ton of TV. I stream a lot of shows. We were streaming 1883, which is when Tim and Faith are in, and then the Yellowstone. We love that.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can't really watch TV till Jackson goes to bed. And so we're streaming a lot of shows. I do like football. Matt watches it a lot, so it's on a lot in our house right now. What's yours?
Mine's SpongeBob.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I do watch a lot of shows that Jackson watches. My little boy.
Yeah, I have no choice, right?
Yes, he watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, which he loves.
Oh, Caitlin loves that.
Caitlin loves that.
Oh, and I think he likes Bluey. He loves the music. He likes music on shows. So.
Yeah, she loves Bluey too. And all the musical ones.
Yeah.
They're really smart of how they make it. And both of them love the Minions. Which, of course, a movie.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Bye, thanks.
Okay, bye. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for your questions. He's so
what, he loves to be on the show, and he's been on almost every episode. So what's brought out the song Music City's Killing Me?
So I was in the studio with Shooter, and it was the first time we'd gotten together in LA, and he said, what are you listening to? And I said, well, right now I'm listening to Ray LaMontagne and his song New York City's Killing Me. And I said, both of us said, the reason I went to LA is because I didn't know where I belonged here anymore, and if I even fit musically. And I feel like I love the traditional elements that I grew up listening to, and that's why Shooter invited me to LA. He reached out to me and said, I want to help you make a record. I really believe in what you do. Come out to LA. And so I said, Shooter, I'm out here because I don't know where I fit there. And I said, and you told me that I fit in the studio here. And he said, well, let's record that song. Let's make it Music City's Killing Me. And,
Wow.
And Ray LaMontagne loves it, and said that we could do that. And then Jamie Johnson and I have kind of always been, we were both on Universal. We, loved each other. He and Shooter are friends. And I said, I think Jamie gets me musically like you do. Maybe we should make it a duet and ask Jamie to join us on it.
Oh, wow.
And that's how Jamie Johnson ended up on it. And I've been able to perform it live on the Opry with him and several other shows. And it's also one of my favorite songs on the record, but it's one of my favorites to record, to perform live now, because there's nobody, I just love his voice, and I get his style and I just love it. So I'm hoping people love that track too.
Yeah. And what would you like for your legacy to be as a music artist? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
I think, especially at this point, I've always tried to record songs that matter to me, because because I feel like if they matter to me, then they might matter to somebody else and help somebody else that's listening. That's what music always did for me. It took me to a different place. Like when, again, growing up, when we would go to Mama's house in the middle of the night because we needed a safe place, country music took me there, in the car, Mama's car. And if it gives people an escape, my music, because I just want to record and be known for real country music and songs that help people through life, helps them smile. They don't have to be in a bad situation, but just and kind of just sticking to the music that I believe in, being me. So that's what I hope I can always be. Just who God made me to be, and who was totally influenced by everything Mama did.
So as we try to honor our time with you,
Yes.
I'll end it with this last thing. What advice would you give that person that wants to do what you do?
Because you told me what someone else had mentioned before, now that's on my brain. But I think that I would, I've been asked that a lot of times. I always do meet and greets after my shows, and young girls ask me, and I just tell them, I was playing in laundromats and coffee shops, and just play as much as you can. Do, own your craft. Figure out who you are and what you like to do, what style of music you like to do. Like, is it traditional country? And just kind of find who you are. Don't try to be someone else, be you, and then do it as much as you can. And there's no certain path, and that, to this. I mean, mine was, again, answering phones in two different offices, and playing laundromats, and then recording at night. But there's no certain path. But if you just keep at it and keep trying to play, try to network, go to shows, because if you go to shows, you can learn from people. I went to so many writers' nights before we made our first record, and that's how I heard a lot of the songs that are on my first record. And so I would just say, don't give up. Just keep going. But really, knowing who you are is really important. Don't try to be someone else. Just be you. And I think that people connect to, fans connect to real songs, real stories, and real people. And I think if an artist is real and they're doing what matters to them, that comes through.
Definitely love that. So tell everybody how they can find you.
Okay. You can find me on julieroberts.com, or my Instagram, or TikTok, or Facebook. Twitter. And if you want this physical CD, you can order it. I've got it. The digital doesn't come out till the 28th of October. It's called Ain't in No Hurry. You can stream a few songs now. The songs that are out right now for streaming are Don't Call Me Baby, Devil's Pool, Music City's Killing Me. Yeah. And then you can order it from my website, julieroberts.com, and I'll sign it for you. We will have vinyl, but vinyl's backed up. So like the productions, it'll be more like 7 months or so. But find me on my socials. I'm very active there, and hopefully on the road too. Again, we just got back. So I plan to do, or I want to be doing a lot of shows. So
love that. We really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back down the road.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. And y'all have a great, well, I'll see you when you move to Nashville.
Yes, that sounds great.
Have a great afternoon.
You have a great day.
Too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.